Hey guys, Drift0r here. I'm bringing you another dual commentary. This time it's something not many of you have seen before. It's Starcraft 2 gameplay, and I'm doing a dual commentary with a very, very old subscriber of mine, been hanging around since the 100s. Say hello to Fireskull.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for the intro, Drifter.
Cool, cool, cool. I do play Starcraft very, very casually, but I'm a little bit of a noob at the technical aspects. Would you like to tell me what you're doing here with your Zerg base? Because I'm very unfamiliar with the Zergs.
Yeah, basically, Zerg trains their units a little differently. It's semi-close to Protoss, but it's pretty different. Your hatchery, your base, your main base, you get a certain amount of larvae from it. It's a max of 3, and I'll get into what queens do later, but basically, from those larvae, you can train certain units. And once you build different buildings, you can train more units.
That's really kind of cool. I noticed I was watching this earlier. Why are you not harvesting gas yet? Because the Terrans would be all up in some gas right now.
Yeah, Terran are more gas heavy in general, but as far as my build, I'm going to be expanding pretty dang fast here, so I'm focusing more on minerals than gas. I don't actually get gas until after I make my first expansion, so my second base.
Okay, that's really unusual. I'm kind of crappy at this base building. I expand very slowly. I guess I'm used to playing against the computer where I can just set up like a little wall and swarm it with units and it'll fall over. But what's the overall strategy with Zerg in this game? Because I heard they're not quite the same as they were in yon olden StarCraft.
Well, I'm not very good at this aspect, but the general gameplay of Zerg is you want to expand fast. It's just more of an opinion of when. So basically, the way it works is you can get a unit called a queen, and she has an ability that will give you more larvae at your base. So the point of Zerg is because your units are kind of weaker than Terran and especially Protoss, you're going to want to get a lot more units more quickly than the other races. So you're going to want to expand pretty quickly.
Well, you're saying the units are weaker. I'll agree with you that the small units are weaker, like the Zerglings, but some of the Hydralisk and the really expensive units are absolutely beefcake.
Yeah, that's more towards you won't be able to get those for a while, but in general, yes, that's not to say all of Zerg units are weaker, but as far as scaling, they get weaker. For instance, you could micro one Colossus from an Ultralisk, but the fact is that in general, the cost effect for like Zerglings versus Marines just isn't better.
Gotcha. So that you can't Zerg rush like you used to be able to, because I did play StarCraft 1 online. I was a bit behind, and these damned Koreans would just send tons of little Zerglings into my base.
Well, there is actually still a strategy for that, and it's called a six pool. You get your hatchery, or not your hatchery, your spawning pool, so what lets you be able to get Zerglings and such, better units, and begin that, that kind of path. You get that at the instant you get enough minerals for it, and then you can get 6 Zerglings by saving up your money and your larvae. You can get 6 Zerglings out to the opponent's base pretty dang quickly, and this can work on lower levels, but the fact is that later levels, what some people don't know is that you can just select all of your workers and A-click so they'll attack anything moving there. You can just A-click past the Zerglings, and you'll kill all of the Zerglings.
Okay.
So it's still semi-viable, but it's not that effective anymore.
I noticed that your actual workers took down that bunker pretty quickly. That was kind of impressive.
Yeah, yeah. For Terran, you saw him trying to bunker rush me, and for Protoss, if they're putting a pylon like behind your base or something, you're going to want to kill those very quick.
Oh,
so. You don't technically need that many, but especially against a Terran, because it looked like he was marine rushing, and as you can see, he was. I wanted to get that bunker down as soon as very possible, so I pulled off most of my drones to go and kill it.
Well, that was a very good idea because I haven't seen the concept of bunker rushing, but I get it very well because bunkers, especially when upgraded, but I guess it would be even worse, even lower in the game when you don't really have any anti-building or anti-armor units. Bunkers could be extraordinarily annoying, especially when they're fully garrisoned.
Very much so. For instance, if I had missed that bunker until it was finished, he would have filled it up with Marines, and I would have had to very much mess with my tech because especially my expansion. That bunker could have killed my expansion,
Yes.
and I couldn't have done anything about
You would
it.
have had to sacrifice almost all your units to take it down, which would have given him a resource advantage.
That would have given him a win advantage, but
Oh no, you can't say that.
basically,
You know, magic happens in these kind of games. You just never know what somebody's going to be able to pull off.
true, very true. But basically, what that would mean for me is that I'm gonna have to get more gas, for instance, and get some tech. That would be enough, like Hydralisk you mentioned. In this case, I would have gotten roaches because they're hardy units, pretty easy to get, and they would have been much better at taking out that bunker.
See, I'm
Now
watching
I
your
make a
Zerglings there. They didn't fare so well.
yeah, I made a big mistake here and I wasn't paying attention to them, so they ran at the Marines who were smartly cloistered in that little corner, and they just tore them up very badly. But luckily, my spine crawlers are enough to take out the Marines. They do two-shot them, so
Spine crawlers.
it wasn't a
I
fatal
don't-
mistake.
I was gonna say I don't think those are effective as some of the turrets from other groups, but they're very cool looking. Or I would say, as when you're talking about bunkers or as something that resembles a turret, probably the least effective thing for me is I never found much use for the Protoss ones.
Photon cannons are useful, especially later in game for Protoss. If they have a lot of minerals, they can just throw down a ton of cannons. That's it's not exactly what I would consider a good strategy, but it is viable for less I don't know, less adept players at spending their minerals.
Well, yeah, of
They
course
are
you can throw
hardy.
down a ton of them, but I'm talking about just one for one spine crawler, one bunker, and one what was it, photon cannon? The photon cannons just seem to be by far the least of the bunch. Although I don't remember the resource cost.
They're not actually, and spine crawlers are 200 actually because you use a drone to make them. So they're 150 plus the drone, so that's 200. But as far as uses, I think, don't quote me on this, but spine crawlers have a slightly larger range. But the biggest advantage that photon cannons have is that they attack both air and ground. Spine crawlers only attack ground, and Terran anti-air turrets only attack air. So
Gotcha.
cannons are very versatile.
That would make sense. Have you ever had somebody air rush you? I've had that happen once or twice and got ruined.
Yeah, actually that's very effective against Zerg because Zerg generally, depending on their tech, you're not going to have much anti-air as opposed to like Terran who, you know, Marines, the most basic unit, they'll attack air.
Yeah.
But the most basic unit for Zerglings, and the next level up, which is usually roaches, neither of which attack air. So especially Protoss with a Void Ray Rush can be very devastating. Do you know about Banshees by any chance?
I am a big noob at Banshees. I've never been able to use them effectively.
Yeah, basically they're flying and they can go cloak. They can only attack ground, but they can cloak. So
Gotcha. This guy's getting ready to send some hurt your way.
yeah, that's also a mistake on his part. After his initial rush failed, he should have just sat back and macroed up with some other tech and not kept pumping out a ton of Marines.
I really do. I would probably be doing a similar thing as him because I feel that the Marines are one of the most effective ground units in this game. Just for simple starting units, they can be pretty deadly, even later on. Although, of course, they don't stand up to things like... I remember when I first tried to play the game, I sent Marines against a Colossi, and that was just a joke.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, but something that's even more of a hard counter to Marines are Banelings, and I do believe you'll see some glowing green things down there with my Zerglings.
Yep, I know what those are too. Those are even more annoying.
Yeah, those just completely rip apart infantry, and so I did put up a Baneling nest as soon as I had a chance to. So you will see pretty soon just how badly they destroy Marines. Now,
I'm watching this game here. Are you gonna win in this last little like few seconds, minutes?
well, actually yes, because thanks to Banelings, I just basically completely mop up his entire force of Marines,
Okay.
and I do start moving out across the map.
That's what I'm seeing, but it looks like time is running out. Are you about to just swarm his base like a champ here?
I was, and well, he actually ends up leaving. Even when he's putting up dual starports in the back of his base, I am moving my force towards his base, and he ends up leaving, actually.
Oh, well, that's kind of sad. Watching this in a commentary kind of sense is really hard for me because I'm so used to playing it. I just want to scroll down and see what he's looking at, and then I'm like, oh wait, this isn't actually the game. It's just the video. Oh,
Yeah,
bad news has left the game. Well, that's sad.
unfortunately, but that was a good game for me, so
Yes, it was. It was actually a good game of StarCraft. Use your low units. It would have been a very early victory, and that was fun. But our time together is coming to an end. Is there anything that you would like to say to my subscribers about yourself or your channel or anything shamelessly self-promoting right now?
I wouldn't say shamelessly self-promoting, but if you guys want to see some stuff a little off the beaten path, PC games that you might not generally see, and not Call of Duty gameplay, then take a look at my channel and look at some of the other stuff.
All right, good deal. Well, it's been nice talking to you.
You too.
Peace out.
Peace.